Good morning. We are going to start today with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Abe Dunn. Nope, right there is fine. You're good. Ready?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the 264th annual meeting of the town of Hartland. My name is Matt Dunn, and I have the honor of serving as your moderator. Town meeting in Vermont is one of the few opportunities in the country where a community comes together to engage in meaningful discussion of the issues facing that community and vote in person on meaningful financial decisions that have implications on our daily lives, including our tax rates. In Hartland, these discussions have been known to sometimes be intense, but always civil, as we will return to being a community again, whose strengths is our commitment to each other despite differences of opinion and politics. We are entering today in a time of turmoil as a nation. We have differences of view across our country, and we have anxiety in our streets. And as of last Friday, we are at war. And it begs the question as to why we are here today to talk about perhaps mundane things, such as culvert funds and abandoned school buildings, tax rates, and yet again, what are we going to do about the Queechee Road? But I would say that, in fact, the way that our nation has gotten through times of turmoil is by leaning into the notion of the democracy that holds us together. Democracy is a leap of faith, and our great experiment as a nation is contingent on renewing that faith. And there is no better way to reinforce that faith than engaging in the oldest form of democracy in the most local way possible. By joining us here today, you are playing a real part in demonstrating to the nation what meaningful participation looks like. This belief in our own agency as a country is what has gotten us through difficult times as a nation in the past, and it is what will get us through the times we are living through today. And I think we can all agree by looking at the full hall here that participatory democracy is alive and well in the town of Hartland. The moderator's job is to independently and objectively oversee the smooth and inclusive proceedings before us, and I will endeavor to do so. I am bound to follow the procedures outlined in Robert's Rules of Order, Vermont state law, and with guidance from the Secretary of State. I have asked former moderator Pat Richardson once again to serve as my parliamentarian to provide me with advice on procedural matters and rulings that may come up in the course of debate. A couple of quick reminders about the process and rules. First, only registered voters of the town of Hartland are allowed to speak and vote during town meeting without permission from the body. If you are a registered voter and plan to participate, please make sure you have signed in with the poll workers at the back of the room. If you are not a registered voter of the town of Hartland, just so I know, can you please raise your hand? Okay, thank you. Second, we will be taking the articles in the order they are warned. Third, as is my charge as town moderator, I will allow only amendments that are germane to the warned article per guidance from Robert Rules, case law, and the Secretary of State. Discussion of non-warned items can happen under Article 11, but any action taken will not be binding. Fourth, we have a tradition in Hartland for allowing for open debate. I will do my best to ensure debate appropriately remains on topic of the current motion, and will also try to ensure everyone is heard, including not calling on an individual a second time before others who have not spoken have had a chance to speak. All questions are to be directed through the moderator, not directed to specific individuals. Before speaking, a person needs to be recognized, wait for the microphone delivered by Abe and Aiden, who are here. The students, have we switched up? Okay, all right, so we've got, no, it's going to be delivered. Who are the two students that are running mics? Hi, Emily. And Jeff. Great, excellent. So they will be running, and please do wait for a mic. It's not only so that people in the hall can hear you, but because this proceeding is being recorded, and it doesn't matter how good a stage voice you have, they will not be able to hear you if you're not holding a mic. I will refrain from calling on people by name so that individuals who are new to town or town meeting do not feel left out. By rule, I will read the articles before entertaining a motion, which will precede debate on the motion. When debate appears to have concluded, I will repeat the article and then move on to the vote. Finally, as there is a helpful tool that is called unanimous consent. If I perceive a change in the proceedings that requires a rule suspension that is non-controversial or in line with tradition, I will preface the motion without objection and suggest that next step. If anyone has a concern with that approach, with that particular motion, they are absolutely allowed to object, at which point we would either not go forward with the rule suspension or go through a formal vote on the rule suspension that will require a 3/4 vote. Otherwise, I will continue to proceed. Does that work? Make sense? Okay. And we'll have the opportunity to do that right near the beginning. So we have a tradition of having our legislators that represent Hartland provide an update from Montpelier. I have asked them to limit their remarks to 5 minutes, which I will time. And they have agreed to hold them to per person. Yes. It's a lot of time. It's a lot, yes. As a recovering legislator, I appreciate constraints. It's all. As evidenced by that introduction, I know. Exactly. Thank you, Senator. We will then have a limited amount of time for questions if anyone has any. And we will start with State Representative John Bartholomew, who is a Hartland resident. Elizabeth Burrows, our other state representative, is not here. She is in West Windsor because they are having a special moment of remembrance for Matt Birmingham, who is a longtime town moderator in West Windsor, who passed away earlier this year. So, without further ado, John, feel free to come up. And we will talk about oil for the seats in the balcony at another time. No, but he does need a microphone. Yep, there we go.
Good morning. Well, as Matt said, we're clearly facing some challenging political and economic times, and sometimes you wonder in Montpelier, what good are we possibly doing? But I'll tell you, we're fighting the fight, and I'm really pleased to be a member of the legislature and doing my best to help Vermonters. And it's, as always, a distinct honor and privilege to be serving you in Montpelier. As always, there's a lot going on. Representative Burrows and I have prepared a mid-session report, and we put that online because we write about what every committee is doing. So whatever topic you might be interested in, you can find in that report. And I did send that link out on the Hartland list, and I'll post it out here so that anyone can get to that and read what's going on. We're nearly halfway through the session. Surprising, it's always shocking how fast it goes. Up to this point in the session, we really spend almost all of our time in committees. That's about to change as we spend more and more time in the floor as the bills come out of committees and crossovers coming. There are 14 policy and money committees in the House. Last year I was actually on the Environment Committee, and it's really unusual to have your committee change in the middle of a biennium, but mine did. We had a number of people leave the House, and the Speaker asked me to step up as Vice Chair of the Agriculture, Food Resiliency, and Forestry Committee. So, had this interesting change in the middle, and I'm also serving on the House Rules Committee. I should mention briefly, you may have heard that our Windsor County Sheriff is having some legal challenges. We don't have a big role in the House, but the entire delegation of the House and Senate for Windsor County is monitoring what's going on. We get reports from the Windham County Sheriff and from our legislative council, and just trying to figure out how to navigate that and make sure that the courthouses that rely on the sheriff's office and all the towns that rely on the Windsor County Sheriff to provide policing service. Not a lot to say, but we are monitoring. As I said, I'm on the Agriculture Committee, and agriculture traditionally has been an extremely important aspect of Vermont's economy, our culture, and our identity. And for decades, our farms have been regulated. Farms that follow the required agricultural practices are regulated by the Agency of Agriculture, Food and Markets. But recently, the Supreme Court made a ruling that municipalities may now regulate farms, which creates a real challenge possibly for many farms. So our committee is working on a bill that's going to clarify what municipal governments can, what bylaws and ordinances they can pass to affect farms and farmers. And we're also working on language to give all Vermonters a right to grow and raise food. We're also looking at regulation of pesticides and chemicals, and while the U.S. often lags behind other countries in regarding the toxic chemicals, Vermont's been a leader in protecting our environment and our food supply. So we're considering several bills designed to strengthen these protections, starting with newborn babies. We have a bill to protect them from lead, arsenic, cadmium, and mercury. And surprisingly, this stuff shows up in baby food. What's it doing in baby food? So anyway, this bill would require regular testing of baby food and infant formula for these heavy metals, and ensure that they don't exceed the Food and Drug Administration limits, and also set up a process for ensuring that the test results are available to consumers. We have another bill that would regulate or perhaps ban the use of paraquat, which is a highly toxic herbicide that's been linked to Parkinson's disease. It's widely used in the United States to suppress weed growth in orchards and other crops. Interestingly, though, much of the paraquat used in the U.S. is manufactured by a Chinese-based company, and it's banned in China, as well as 71 other countries. So we're trying to figure out what to do about paraquat. Another one, we're looking at restricting the use of anticoagulant rodenticides. Obviously, rodents have posed a problem with humans throughout our entire history as a species. They affect our food supply and can cause diseases. But then we've got these rodenticides that are meant to control rodents. And they cause poisoning of children, humans, mostly children, and domestic animals, pets, and wildlife, including some wildlife that, like many of the predators of rodents, are being poisoned by rodenticides. So we're trying to figure out what to do about that.
And on that happy note...
Am I at 5 minutes?
You are at 5 minutes. So, thank you, John. Okay, next up, Senator Joe Major.
Stand up together, we're a team.
Yes.
Yes.
Welcome to Stand Up Together.
Absolutely.
All the senators.
Since the U.S. Won the gold medal in hockey, and if you remember in 1980, what Michael Ruzioni did is he had his whole team come up when they accepted the medal. So I wanted our whole team to come up and talk to you. I am Joe Major. I am the freshman senator for Windsor County. I want to say one thing, and I said this last year before I got elected, and I still mean this. When I was running, I sought counsel from two people, Matt Dunn and Phil. So if you don't like me, blame them. It's your fault. It's your fault. I think there's no doubt the one word that we hear time and time again, both on the federal and on the local level, is affordability. And probably most prominent in that is Act 73, the Transformational Educational Bill, which affects your property taxes. It also, one of the things that is missing on that is, obviously we want to solve that part of it, but the other part of it that we also have to solve is educating our children. Those two things are imbalanced right now. And the one thing that is overwhelmingly, it is a complex issue. Both the House and the Senate have differing proposals in how to solve this. Whether it is having forced redistricting or having voluntary redistricting, or to having school choice or not to have school choice. I will tell you this, we will solve this problem. We will come together and we will solve this problem. We have to solve this problem. We have to solve this problem for Vermonters. It is so vitally important. Much like the representative, I am the vice chair of Senate Agriculture, and many of the things that he talked about, we are working on as well in our Agriculture Committee. One of the things I want to specifically point to is S60. And if you know about our farmers, particularly our small and medium-sized farmers, they are having a terrible time with climate change. The two years prior, we had flooding. Last year we had flooding, and this year we had a drought. Small and medium-sized farmers cannot afford crop insurance, so they are left to go bankrupt or to, in essence, try to muddle it out and sustain. And it is unsustainable at this point. And so we're trying to get some funding for those small and medium-sized farmers so they can sustain. A fact that when I got into Senate Agriculture that I found amazing over the past 10 years, we have lost half of our dairy farms. This, like I said, is unsustainable. And lastly, that I want to talk about is health care. We have some of the highest health care in the nation. And then it's frustrating when you look over the river and you see New Hampshire and they have some of the lowest. So there are a couple of bills, one in the House that's dealing with single payer, and something in the Senate that is dealing with increased access to, pardon me?
Primary care.
Yes, primary care, thank you. That was one in the House, the Senate.
Yeah.
Thank you, though. In the Senate, S-197. So we are working very hard to make your lives better. And sometimes it doesn't seem like this. And one of the things that I thought when I first got there is things should happen like this. And they happen at a snail's pace. Because you're dealing with more than just one person. And though our team, and if you look at our record, pretty much votes all together. Because we are a team. We make sure that we go out and not just do these town meetings, but we go out and have forums and things of that nature to make sure that we know how you feel and how we should vote and what legislation we should put forward. So, Matt, you said that politicians are verbose, and so you're going to keep it to 5 minutes. So I am going to turn this over to the other senator from Windsor County, Becca White.
Thanks, Joe.
And I will point out, I was taken aback by the friend, without objection, we will continue to hear from the senators who are not residents of the town of Hartland.
True.
This would be nice.
Well, thank
Great.
you for not objecting.
Yes, exactly.
you.
Okay.
Thank you,
Senator,
Matt.
yeah.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's so lovely to see so many familiar faces. I'm Becca White. I'm your other Windsor County State Senator, and I'm from Hartford. So when I went to UVM, everyone thought I was from Hartland. So I just wanted to start by introducing you to 4 guests that you have. You may have noticed some folks raise their hands not being from here. Well, you've got some observers from the University of Vermont that I'd like to introduce you to. You have Zoe and Isabel, who have been doing yeoman's work as our interns. And then you also have Hannah and Isaac. So please be welcoming to them if you can. They're here to see town meeting in action. I'm the transportation gal on the team, so I'm just going to speak briefly to you about 2 transportation-related topics. The first is that we have a $33 million deficit in the Vermont transportation system, and that state money would have drawn down over $100 million of federal dollars. So as you can imagine, that's a large sum of money. We are statutorily meeting our requirements for town highway aid funding, which in layman's terms means we're still not giving enough to the towns. And we will continue to see cuts to projects, and particularly any project in your community that is more than 3 years out, you should consider at risk. Just want to put that out there. We are going to see I want folks to think about what they believe the road quality is in Vermont. We have 4 categories: very poor, fair, good, and very good. You can probably all think of a high percentage of the poor and very poor roads. Well, we are only at 6% technically very poor roads in Vermont, and in the next 10 years, due to this funding, we will reach over 52% very poor roads is the expectation. So that's a problem that we're going to need to address, and it also will impact you and your town budgets as well. So I wanted to highlight that. The second thing to note is that we also work on the Department of Motor Vehicles miscellaneous bill, which is changes to DMV law. And this year I've been spearheading an every other year vehicle safety inspection proposal, going away from an annual inspection proposal. The bill did pass, although it is not, as I'm sure memory serves for folks who have served in the past, it is not passing as a we're gonna do it. We're passing having a plan made if we were going to consider doing it. So that's snail's pace. So those are the 2 things I wanted to tell you about, and we will be passing around an e-newsletter sheet, which if you would like to get that, that's how we're sending out our town meeting report. And thank you, it's an honor to serve you.
Just think of all the money we'll save buying tickets to the Great Escape by having very poor roads. They'll just be like a big roller coaster ride. Just, you know, it's
your steering column, yeah.
right. Oh my God. I'm not looking forward to that. Good morning, everybody. Town meeting is a time for us to celebrate our municipal life together, and we so appreciate you welcoming us, your state partners, to speak at your town meeting. Thank you. We work closely with your towns, with all our towns, to improve life for Vermont and for Vermonters. I'm Allison Clarkson, and I have the honor of serving you as Chair of Senate Economic Development, Housing and General Affairs. I get to work closely with a number of you who are great visionaries in some of those areas. Particularly, I'm thinking of Tom over there on Brownfields. And as Becca and I serve in the afternoon on Senate Government Operations, we're here to share, and Matt alluded to this earlier, we're here to share that even though our world may be full of uncertainty, Vermont is stable. Your legislature is functional, and we are so proud of the fact that we have such a strong and functional legislature. We have a lot of challenges, but I am sure that we will navigate them in a civil and productive fashion. This year, we are most focused on a couple key things, which many of you in this room who protest every day up at the Green in Woodstock are very clear on. We're focused on protecting Vermonters' civil liberties and their civil rights, protecting Vermonters from federal budget cuts, which are devastating some of our family budgets, working hard to keep Vermont an affordable place to live, working to ensure that Vermont has a sustainable public education system paid for at a sustainable price, and working every day in our committees, which is what consumes most of our time. We're about halfway through, as John mentioned, 8 weeks into an 18-week session, and most of our work hasn't even made it to the other chamber yet. So we are all a work in progress. Everything that you see discussed in these town meeting reports are works in progress. So we're making progress, as you heard, on expanding access to primary care, building more housing, re-envisioning our education delivery system, reducing property taxes, which is what the goal was when we first started this work, and expanding our workforce, protecting our privacy, and trying to reduce the gap in the transportation fund. Some of my work in Senate Economic Development is trying to build more housing with less money, protecting consumers, economic development, shoring up our economic resources for our small businesses, and really identifying how we can do a better job with each stage of business development, and protecting our genetic and data privacy. And in Senate Government Operations, we have just passed out a regional law enforcement pilot in Windham County, which we're very excited about, and strengthening our election protections here in Vermont. Big issues. So in the State House, we asked to speak on a point of personal privilege, and I would ask you if I may speak on a point of personal privilege. After 22 years in the legislature, I have made the decision to retire. Serving you has been the honor of a lifetime. Thank you so much. Thank you for sending me to Montpelier to represent you and to advocate for you. Thank you for trusting me. That's the biggest thing. Thank you for trusting me to make decisions on your behalf. Thank you for the gift of getting to know you. Becca talked about so many familiar faces. I've gotten to know so many of you and have worked with so many of you, and it's been fabulous. Getting to know the people in Hartland and in Windsor County, getting to know and appreciate our town's idiosyncrasies, and they are numerous, and getting to know the many glories of this remarkable state that we are lucky enough to live in. Never forget how lucky you are to live in Vermont. But I am ready for a new adventure. Vermont is full of opportunities and needs, and I'm ready to focus on some of those. I've treasured my time in the legislature. Thank you all for the opportunity to serve you. It's an honor and a privilege that I never take for granted, and I'm always grateful for. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senators. Thank you for being timely. And Senator Clarkson, thank you so much for your service and for being present in Hartland at town meeting on such a consistent basis. So, thank you. Okay, moving on to the issues of the town in front of us. I'm going to turn it over to the Select Board to introduce themselves. I'm going to start on the far left with Jim, and then end with Phil, who's going to introduce some of the managers as well as make a few remarks. Nope.
Jim Riley, I'm not really good with microphones. Trace Tancredi.
Elwood P. Suggins, Clyde Jenny,
Tom Kennedy.
Phil Hobby. I'd like to also introduce, as Matt said, the people who really make this town work. First, John Brooker Campbell, our town manager. Thank you. Bob Quaderer, our lister, please stand. Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay. VJ Matson, our road foreman. John Leonard, head of our rec department. Martin Dole, our finance director. Tracy Joy, our director of library. And an elected official, our town clerk, John Paulette, who's taking minutes. Okay, thank you. Good. I would like to make some remarks, and I want to first recognize our moderator's remarks and the importance of democracy trickling down to this meeting today. So appropriate. This year we celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. This document established the core American ideas that all people are created equal with unalienable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The event will be celebrated by great national speeches and events that touch on the many milestones over these 250 years. The Declaration of Independence is viewed as the great American experiment. Because it was considered a risky endeavor to establish a self-governing republic based on the principles of natural rights, equality, and government by consent, and all without a monarchy. No comments, please, on that one. The Founding Fathers created a representative form of government. We have elected 2 senators and 1 representative that represent Vermont at the federal level. Earlier in this meeting, we heard from our state congressional delegation. Frank Bryan, the UVM political scientist who is considered the foremost authority on New England town meetings, calls this direct democracy. Unlike at the state and federal level of government, where we elect representatives, today we are the direct body who will debate, vote, and listen to our neighbor as we conduct the business of Hartland. We are conducting the great American experiment. I have an interest in building community and have found many books with ideas on how to foster community. Today we are participating in a long-standing tradition of self-governance. It is most certainly building community. Yes, our town meeting has changed over the years. My first town meeting in the late 70s had the school meeting, a break for lunch, and then the town portion of the meeting in the afternoon. Yes, we have pressures to move away from today's format. But I contend that this tradition is near and dear to the core fabric of Hartland. In the year 1777, Vermont was declared independent of the New Hampshire grants. 20 years later, Vermont became the 14th state. Back then, citizens were concerned with land titles and preparing for the Revolutionary War. I'm sure over this year, our Historical Society will have programs on this period of time. Some 16 years before the independence of Vermont, Hartland was known as Hertford, H-E-R-T-F-O-R-D, to be mixed up with Hartford. Possibly the town name was chosen based on Hertfordshire, England. Hertfordshire had rivers that were navigable from London. Was this similar to the Connecticut River? Hertford was renamed Hartland in 1782. Thanks to our town clerks for discovering the book titled Proprietors Meeting, dated 1763. This book has town meeting minutes from 1763 and 1764. The minutes reflect elected town officials, the formation of a committee to settle a dispute of wages, and payment to an individual for the improvement of a road. That's interesting. I will leave my notes from the meeting on the desk here so people can see them later. Good luck translating the Old English. We were having town meetings some 13 years before the Declaration of Independence. As we continue our town meeting today, I see us executing one of the promises of the Declaration of Independence, self-governance. We are part of what Brian called a living laboratory. Let's get on with this amazing experiment. Thank you.
Okay, with that, orders of the day. The first article I am just going to read. It does not have action associated with it, which is Article 1, to elect by Australian ballot town officers for the ensuing year. Polls will be open at 7 a.m. and close at 7 p.m. Town moderator, 1 one-year term. Select board, 1 two-year term. Select board, 1 3-year term. Library trustee, 1 3-year term. And library trustee, 1 3-year term. Moving on to Article 2. Shall the town vote to appropriate $133,600 to support the Hartland Volunteer Fire Department? And with that, I am going to ask for a motion to approve and a second, and then we will have discussion that will include a presentation from Chief Sanders. Correct? Okay. Yes. I apologize. Thank you. I was moving quickly into our orders. Why don't we do this? Let's do this article, and then without objection, we will move to the awards. I've already gotten in part way, but thank you for the reminder, even though it's right here in my notes. So thank you. So with that, do we have a motion on Article 2? Please stand and say your name. Okay. Do we have a second? Thank you. So we have a first and a second. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chief Sanders to present on the fire department budget. I will make a comment before doing so, which was part of my distraction, is that I think this is the last time that the chief will be presenting as the chief after a tour of 18 years as chief of the... And
yeah, I promised myself I wouldn't get emotional. That didn't help. Thanks. All right. Most important assets in our fire department, these 30 members, and to be honest, we have a few more that we couldn't quite squeeze on. So we picked what made sense and those that we're seeing the most of. Real quick shout out to Cam Kuchar and Nick Potwin, Isabel Hamilton. They've all completed their Fire 1. I believe they're all in Fire 2. Have they completed Fire 2? Still underway. Yeah. So that's a huge accomplishment, and it's always amazing that volunteers are willing to put that kind of time out of their own personal schedules into this. Individuals in red outline are also trained as medical staff. Big shout out to Scott Barger, who just finished his EMT. Most importantly, also moved to Hartland from Pomfret, where he served as an officer, and bought a house on Rice Road, which is the coolest road in Hartland. So nice job. We went on 226 calls this year, this past year, and that's, well, you'll see the plot in a minute. That's a lot. Next slide, please. So last year, I didn't think we had a trend, and if we squint and close our eyes to 2024, we have a trend. The red calls are some sort of fire or smoke. The blue calls are some sort of crash. I meant to change this. There's little blue snowflakes. Those are supposed to be the crashes on 91. The other ones are in town, so 50-50 this year. And then gold is everything else we do, from hanging smoke detectors up in your cathedral ceilings to power lines down and weather alerts and stuff like that. So it's been a very busy year, and John Broker Campbell asked me, "Is this sustainable?" And I said, "You'll have to talk to the next chief about that." So, next slide, please. This is our fast squad or rescue squad in Hartland. We do not do ambulance transports in this town. We contract out to Woodstock and Windsor and Hartford. And all of these individuals are trained to some form of state-certified emergency medical response. And we have 4 paramedics on our squad, which is amazing. Alan Beebe is our director and is, I believe, working in his retirement at White River Upper Valley Ambulance right now. So yeah, we are in pretty good shape as a rescue squad and very, very busy with 374 calls. Next slide. That is definitely a trend. If you look back 10 years, it's almost half the number of calls, almost doubled the number of calls in the last 10 years. So that's a lot. My next slide, if you don't mind, is my attempt to categorize these. This is my second year trying to categorize these. Most things come in as medical calls. We have a aging and independent community in Hartland, and some people fall down and require lift assist, so that's another one. Vehicle crashes, we go out in concert with the rescue squad and the fire department to provide medical care. And then, it gets a little confusing because somebody might be unconscious for medical reasons, or it's possible they overdosed. While I won't say there's no drug issue in Hartland, it is not the majority of our calls. And then there's a small amount of mental health and trauma calls and other weird stuff that we get into predicaments with, and we're all here to help, and we enjoy doing it. That's why we're volunteers. Next slide, please. This is just supposed to be like a waterfall chart of how new our vehicles are. Thank you, Martin. That is supposed to say 2023 on the forestry truck. It's a year newer. And we try to get about 25 years of life out of our trucks. And that's just a budgeting target. Right now, our engine 2 at the bottom there is in great shape. We put a lot of work into it. And we probably can get somewhere between 2 and 5 more years out of it. Hopefully longer. But we want to plan to be smart about how we spend the money. I think I've got another slide in a few minutes, but the cost of emergency vehicles is just out of this world. That engine, engine 1, 2015 engine 1 in the middle, that was, I believe, a $425,000 truck when we bought it 10 years ago. That is a $1.5 million truck with a 3-year lead time right now. So it's absolutely staggering, and we need to plan ahead is I guess my message here. Next slide. This is Hartland's new helicopter. Thank you, voters. This is fun one, especially because Scott's here. So was it a week after Scott got to be the landing zone coordinator, we had a fatal accident in Hartland, and Scott landed that helicopter in the same spot, and yay for us for training, So, but yeah, it was pretty cool. Sorry. That was a great community event, and I tried to give a heads up to John and others because everybody wants to see a helicopter land on the soccer field. So we replaced Station 1 and 2 heating systems, and that was done with the town helping us out. So thank you. That was some leftover funds that John Broker Campbell can talk to that had to do with, I'm forgetting the acronym right now, but yes, that did not come out of our operating budget. It was much appreciated. We did have a second annual cornhole tournament as a fundraiser and brought in some more operating dollars on that. October is our fire prevention month. For those of you that don't know, October is the month of the Great Chicago Fire. I grew up in Chicago, so that's why we do fire prevention in October. And we hit all the schools and had a lot of happy kiddos bring home a lot of fire prevention materials back to their parents to train their parents, which is really the whole objective of that. We are actively researching what we're going to do for our next vehicle. Like I said before, we've got 3 newly certified firefighter 1s, 4 enrolled in firefighter 2, and we have a really, really amazing team. And that's why this is a really great time for me to share the leadership with others who are more than capable of continuing this great, great department. Next slide. So I hit on this a little bit. This is a similar slide to before. That engine 2, still in great operating shape. We did a lot of refurbishing to the frame rails underneath to keep them going. That tanker was made by Larry Dingy. That is the second or third time that body has been put onto a new chassis or used chassis. It's getting tired. What we're trying to do is blend the ability to haul a lot of water with the ability to pump at a structure fire, which we currently do with 2 different vehicles, and a lot of towns around us are doing this kind of smashing together of these 2. Those are conventional cab and chassis. They're not custom, and that also makes them a little bit less expensive, and we're hoping to go down that path rather than do a complete custom build. Looking back, this is data from last year. Fairleigh bought a new tanker for $485,000. They received it 3 years later. Windsor got a new pumper tanker, $660,000. Took 2 years. Lebanon has more money than we do, and they get higher up in the queue, but they've got a great new engine, $1.2 million, and Norwich rescue pumper for $550,000. Quotes are coming in right now at around between $600,000 and $1 million for what we're looking at. And we need to decide as a committee and come to the select board with what our plan is for moving ahead, but we need to plan on waiting. Dingy, I believe, was all the way up to 4 years of wait time. I think the shortest I've seen is 2 years. We would plan on selling 1 or both of these, not necessarily at the same time, and expect some revenue from that when we do it. Needless to say, we are prioritizing maintenance. Scott just picked up $10,000 in parts to put a new turbo into our engine 1, 10-year-old engine 1, and that'll be out of service, and we will be dependent on mutual aid and our other department station to serve the town while that's being serviced. Next slide. So our budget is going up again. I didn't have the percent there, but we're going up about $11,600. And these are bullet items of where we're going up. The one decrease was in the building upkeep. We seem to be in really good shape there, so we're dropping that a little bit. I think I'll just hit a couple of the big ones. We were spending about $30,000. We're increasing that slightly to hopefully plateau our vehicle maintenance budget. That was woefully under budgeted for many years, and I think we're finally getting our heads around what needs to be done and what a realistic budget is for that. Turnout gear, we just bought Isabel a new set of gear, and that was $4,100, up from $3,000 the last time we ordered gear. So we're also due to start rotating out our gear. The NFPA says we need to change that out every 10 years. NFPA, we jokingly says, stands for not for practical applications, but we try to follow their guidelines when we can. Yeah, so if we can order an engine 2 replacement, we would try to get our act together soon, earlier this year, talk to the select board, present them with the offers that we've seen, and I think we're at our 3rd or 4th request out for bids. A lot of difficulty getting those bids to come back in, and we have sort of this window between 2028 and 2032 that we're trying to shoehorn in a new vehicle, but be prepared to wait for it once we order it. Next slide. So I hit on this a little bit. Turnout gear, in addition to just the textiles, there's the hats, or the helmets, the boots, the gloves, the radios. It's up. It's about $16,000 to outfit one firefighter. We don't do that every year, but we love having new members, and we need to outfit those members with the right gear for the job. These members are doing, they're asked to do a firefighter course, a state certified course, national certified course actually, and those that are interested in taking the medical, emergency medical route, another 180 hours there. And then we are all required to do at least 24 hours of refresher for each of those. So it's all volunteer, and again, we have an amazing team. Next slide, please. I was looking for a more up-to-date slide, but I think the National Volunteer Fire Council put this together and hasn't updated it in a while. So volunteers comprise 65% of the firefighters in the United States. 2021, there were 36 million fire department calls, and it sort of breaks it down from there, but there's a lot of dependency in the United States on volunteer departments. Next slide, please. So this is just a reminder. We need to be able to figure out where your house is at night or in inclement weather. So those green or white retroreflective signs that you can pick up from the town hall, put them where we can see them as best as you can. There's some challenges with shared driveways. Do your best so that when we're driving past the bottom of from the road, we can find our way to your house. Don't be afraid to ask for a second sign if that helps for you. We are seeing every year carbon monoxide and smoke detectors saving houses. This is not like a once in a while thing. This is like it happens all the time. So when they go off and you're annoyed and you throw it in a snowbank, please come around to putting it back up. We actually carry smoke detectors now. The state gave us some to hand out, so if there's any funding issues, we can actually have you sign a release form and we'll go put them up in your house. So that's working out well. Please call for burn permits so we're not leaving our families to go out for, leaving our families and dinners to go do something that was planned in advance. And these key boxes are, I'm seeing more of these in both on commercial buildings in town, but also on residential houses. So we have a master key to these. It's the same key that lets us get into the bank and the post office and this building in the middle of the night. And we have an extremely good auditing system of how we keep that key secure and who took it last. So this is a safe system. We can lock your house key in there and then we can get into your house without smashing windows and breaking doors. I think that's my almost last slide. Next slide. Oh yeah, we have a new phone number. So people used to get a hold of me through 436-2222. That is now an auto attendant line, and I think it's working pretty well. If you press 0, it'll ring the firehouse if you know somebody's there. It's not a manned station, so it's just a way to try to reach a human. And then all of the rest of these go to individual cell phones. So it's one number to reach either a town point of contact for a road issue or anybody in the fire department for a burn permit or what you think is a non-emergency question. And then I have to legally say, if it's an emergency, please call 911. Next slide. Next slide. All right. Scott, would you mind standing up? Scott's been at this for a lot longer than I have, and there were a lot of really good words said by our legislators that it's a very humble feeling to have all of you guys let me into your house in the middle of the night. You should trust this guy too, and it's going to be great going forward. We got great leadership, and I'm not going anywhere. And we now have 2 retired chiefs that are going to be in our ranks, so it's going to be good. So welcome aboard. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Chief, and welcome, Chief. Okay, so we are going to continue with this article and then take a break. So we We have Article 2 on the table that has been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion on Article 2? Article 2, shall the town vote to appropriate... Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you. Is there a microphone, please?
Sorry, long way over.
No problem.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Eli Carini. Just want to say thank you to the fire department for all you do. Hugely appreciated. I just wanted to ask you guys if we should be concerned. Gas prices have risen, I think, 30 cents or so on average in the United States over the past 4 days. Does the budget as it stands have room in it for extreme fluctuations in gas we might see over the next months and years? Because I don't want us to get like halfway through the year and have you guys not have enough money to fill up your tanks. So I just wanted to make sure that you feel comfortable there's enough room in this budget to give you the flexibility given the volatile situation there. Thank you.
And I'll let the chief take it. Yep.
I think we're going to be fine. So diesel trucks, they're not running all the time. I forget exactly what our budget is. It's on the order of $8,000, I think, for fuel. And that's been conservative. And it's the town's fuel, so they're going to let us take from them if we go over our budget, and we'll work something out. But it's a valid concern, but not one of the biggest parts of our budget. Insurance and vehicle maintenance is up at the top, for sure.
Is there any more discussion of Article 2? So I'm not missing anyone. Okay, Article 2, shall the town vote to appropriate $133,600 to support the Hartland Volunteer Fire Department? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. The ayes appear to have it, the ayes do have it, and you have passed Article 2. So, without objection, we will continue in a theme of volunteerism. And we have a tradition in Hartland of recognizing individuals in the community in 2 areas. The first is a conservation award, and then an Aging in Hartland award. So we will start with the conservation award. And Rob Andergay will present it.
So good morning. My name is Rob Anderegg, and I'm the chair of the Hartland Conservation Commission. There are a few other commissioners in the audience here. If you could raise your hands and let people see. Yeah, there's a couple up in the balcony and some down here. We have an opening on the commission, by the way, and so if you might think you might be interested, please come to a meeting or talk to one of these people that was just waving at you. Every year, the commission tries to recognize some individual in Hartland who has made a really significant impact on conservation of our natural and cultural resources. This year, well, before I get there, conservation, the thing I love about it is that it covers so many different things. We've had awards in the past for energy conservation, land conservation, nature education, and lots of other accomplishments. For today, what I'd like to do is start by having you close your eyes and think back to when you were in elementary school at lunchtime. And you have 250 kids sitting around you eating their lunch. When they finish their lunch, all of the apple cores and the orange peels and the celery sticks and all of the good-for-you food that the kids didn't want to eat winds up until recently in the trash. And if you think about the scale of that, that's pretty significant. So if you have 250 kids, even if they only generate a couple of ounces each, you're talking about pounds of food per day. And over the course of the school year, you're talking about tons of food going into the waste. At the Hartland Elementary School, about 4 years ago, Kelly Meacham, a paraeducator there, recognized how wasteful this was. And she decided she needed to do something about it. First, she went and enrolled in a course or a program at UVM Extension and became a certified master composter. And then she came back to the school and started collecting all of that scrap, compostable scrap, and she would just take it home and put it in her home compost pile. Eventually, because she's also the coordinator for the Farm to School program, she wrote a burn grant and got money to build raised garden beds at each of the classrooms at the elementary school. She then got the school involved with a program, a statewide program called School Compost and Recycling Action Plan Institute, or SCRAPPY. and what this program is all about is getting kids involved with collecting compost and recognizing the need for this and recycling. And so that's now been implemented at the school, and they are collecting tons of both compostable stuff and recycling stuff and keeping it out of the waste stream. And so we wanted to recognize Kelly for her tireless efforts. She began doing this just on her own, then she recruited her family and got them involved, then the teachers, and finally, and most importantly, the students at the school, because now those students will become the next generation of people who care about and try to protect the environment. So please join me in recognizing Kelly Meacham for her work in recycling at Hartland Elementary. So part of the award is for Kelly to get a little plaque, and her name will also join those on the back wall. There's a wooden plaque on the back that have previous conservation award winners.
Thank you very much.
Say a few words, like at the Oscars.
Yeah, just like that. I wouldn't be able to do it without my family and the kids that work with me. And my grandsons have been a huge part of it because I kind of make them help me. But Will Summersell in the back there he helps every day. He takes the compost out and takes care of it. So we've been providing the manure from the farm that helps it cook. And I've learned a lot about compost and recycling in the last couple of years. So it's been a lot of fun, and I love seeing it not go into the trash, because we need to look out for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and congratulations. So next, we're going to do an Aging in Hartland Award, and Vicki Lawrence will present that award. There's a mic right there. We got it.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Good morning, everyone. I'm Vicki Lawrence. I'm a board member of Aging in Hartland. Aging in Hartland actually developed from a conversation a group of Hartland residents had about how to live as long as possible in our own homes. Marie Kern was part of this first group. She took the task to heart, and with her leadership, she assembled a group of like-minded individuals with a mission to support healthy aging in our community. Aging in Hartland was born, a community-based grassroots organization. Now we're 15 years later. AIH continues to grow as a vital network of your friends and neighbors. AIH connects residents age 50 and over to resources, helping them to continue find meaning, connection, and support services as they age in their own homes and a community they love. AIH programs strive to meet this primary mission by providing community nurses to address health and medical issues, offer social and educational programs, recruit volunteers to deliver Meals on Wheels to Hartland residents, coordinate transportation, provide volunteers to assist with home service needs, all at no charge. AIH is a volunteer-run organization of neighbors and friends who are willing to help. Without them, AIH would not survive. We greatly appreciate all our dedicated, wonderful volunteers whose service strengthens our community. But today, Aging in Hartland recognizes one outstanding volunteer, this year's Volunteer of the Year, Kurt Peterson. Okay, Guy, where do I begin? Kurt has been a steadfast supporter of Aging in Hartland from nearly the beginning. Since joining AIH, he's always stepped up and accepted responsibility for multiple needs of the organization, whether volunteer, steering committee member, treasurer, board member, and currently home services coordinator. Kurt also recognized the need for and was instrumental in getting AIH established as a nonprofit, not an easy task. In his current role as home service coordinator, Kurt is a master at rallying volunteers to complete any task or project. Kurt is also quick to respond to many, quote, "I need help with," unquote, requests, such as moving electric recliners, delivering medical equipment, installing home safety devices, all to assist our elders. In addition, Kurt suggested AIH establish a wood bank, which involves his team of volunteers to cut, split, stack, and distribute donated firewood when notified of an emergency need. He provides his trailer each year for the AIH float and the 4th of July parade, and he has for years been a volunteer driver for those in Hartland needing transportation for medical appointments or grocery shopping or whatever. He has dedicated an unknown and remarkable number of hours to Aging in Hartland, all while also working his Shincracker farm, being a journalist for the Vermont Standard and the Mountain Times. You have to let me talk. And as well for over 10 years delivering Meals on Wheels weekly in Hartland, where he is affectionately known as Mr. Wednesday. Kurt is a neighbor caring for neighbor, the true community spirit of Hartland. On behalf of Aging in Hartland, it gives me great pleasure and is my honor to present you Kurt Peterson with this year's Outstanding Volunteer of the Rear Wall.
I know.
Okay, you have 30 seconds.
It's on.
Thank you. Vicki, I'm not too sure this is all deserved. She obviously hasn't been watching all the time. 3 years ago, I was see what happens when you get old. With a couple of dozen sheep, and I thought I was going to live forever and be able to wrestle sheep until the sun went down the last time. And here I am today now in my prediction that when I told my Meals on Wheels people, don't be too grateful because someday you'll be delivering meals to me. Well, now I use the rescue squad on a weekly basis. and use the hospitals on a rotation schedule. We have to check every morning, and I may make it, but it's a town full of volunteers, and probably my favorite bunch at the moment is the 5 selectmen and John. I go to almost every select board meeting, and those gentlemen are elected by the town, and they've done a great job of electing the right people. So thank you all for noticing, and I'll look forward to seeing you when you come with my lunch.
Okay, well, it is super important to recognize the folks who are making the town do the extraordinary things that we are able to do. Back to the orders of the day, we're going to go to Article 3. Shall the town vote to appropriate $1,500 to support the family place? Do I have a motion? Paul Sawyer moves. Do I have a second? Yep. Shaylee Briggs seconds. Is there any discussion? Yes.
I'm Paul Sawyer, and I had the honor of serving on the board of the Family Place for 5 years. It's a remarkable organization that is very hard to describe because it does so many different things. But one of the wise staff members there once put it in a way that helped me understand is that imagine the worst things that happen to children in our communities. The Family Place deals with all of those. So kids born into families with addiction, very young families, a number of other situations. Just a couple of practical things that really spoke out to me in my time there. One was observing the program where very young parents had a special program in order to complete their high school education, which also included childcare for their children and parental lessons in being a parent, and the resources and finding the resources to be an amazing parent. That program was remarkable, is remarkable. You can read in the report, in the town report, the number of other things they do, but the one that got me involved in the first place was being connected to 2 young kids who were dealing with sexual assault in their home situation. And one of the programs at the Family Place allows children in that situation or any other legal situation to testify in a safe and supportive space so that their video recording of their testimony can be used in their court proceedings. And these young people I knew are now adults doing amazing work in the community, in part because they were able to have that support and then counseling following that. And the counseling that Family Place offers for children in that situation continues whenever they need it on into adulthood. So I know these articles get a lot of scrutiny, and I think that's appropriate, but I just want to personally state my dedication to this program, which I still support, and which has received funding from us for many, many years. This is just an increase request in the funding, which honestly is something many years ago I suggested they might take up. So thank you.
So just as a process thing, and Paul mentioned why this is separated out. What is tradition in Hartland is that we do all of the appropriations to nonprofit social service organizations as a group. That is Article 4. But if there is a new group that is seeking funding, or if there is a request for increased funding, it gets separated out and debated separately. So that's what we are doing here with Article 3. Is there any more discussion on Article 3? Okay. Article 3, shall the town vote to appropriate $1,500 to support the family place? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and Article 3 passes. Okay, Article 4. And I am going to ask that without objection, I am going to read this article only once, which I think is in all of our best interests. It is in front of you, it is here, but I will do it once through. So, Article 4, shall the town vote to appropriate $92,572 to support social service agencies as follows: Aging in Hartland, $28,200, Junction Arts and Media, $3,000, Cover Home Repair, $1,500, Green Mountain Economic Development, $1,694, Green Mountain Retired Senior Volunteer Program, RSVP, $200, Green Up Vermont, $200, Hartland Community Food Shelf, $500, Hartland Community Arts, $2,000, Hartland Cooperative Nursery School, $5,000, Hartland Farmers Market, $2,000, Hartland Rescue Squad, $14,500, Healthcare and Rehabilitative Services of Southeastern Vermont, Inc., HCRS, $3,453, Mount Escutney Prevention Partnership, $900, Public Health Council of the Upper Valley, $345, Senior Solutions, $1,500, Southeastern Vermont Community Action, SEVCA, $3,220. Special Needs Support Center of the Upper Valley, $3,700. Tri-Valley Transit, $1,500. Ottaquechee Health Foundation, $5,000. Vermont Center for Independent Living, $150. Visiting Nurses and Hospice for Vermont and New Hampshire, $10,500. White River Council on Aging, $1,000. Windsor County Mentors, $2,000, and Women's Information Services, Inc., $500. Is there any discussion? Oh, sorry. Can I have a motion to... Pat, do you have a question? Yeah, point of order. Yes. Moderator. Yep. I think Vermont Center for Independent Living is $160. I think you said $150. I apologize. So, Vermont Center for Independent Living, $160. Thank you. Is there a motion on Article 4? Yep. So it is moved. Yep. And do we have a second? It has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on Article 4? Is there any discussion on Article 4? Seeing none, I will not reread the entire article. I will only do the beginning, which is Article 4. Shall the town vote to appropriate $92,572 to support social service agencies as follows? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. And Article 4 is passed. Article 5, shall the town vote to direct the Select Board to make available up to $50,000 from the Capital Reserve Fund to properly demolish the North Hartland School building? Do I have a motion? Sarah Bruce moves. Do I have a second? And Richard Waddell seconds. Is there any, what I'm going to do is, without objection, I'm going to ask our town manager to make a brief comment on this article, since I know this has been the subject of discussion for at least the last town meeting, if not many before that. So,
right. I believe you referred to these as mundane things at the beginning of the meeting.
Yes.
Martin, can you go to the next slide, please? So again, we talked about this at town meeting in 2025, beginning in 2024. So 2 years ago, there was a school committee formed to look at the redevelopment opportunities at the building. We had a home inspection completed and a cost estimate provided to us by a local contractor who estimated that the work needed to bring the building up to some sort of standard that would be acceptable was over $200,000. And then since last year's town meeting, when we discussed this, we have continued to keep the lights on and keep it just warm enough so that nothing breaks. And we spent, you can see, just over $1,800 in the past year, just keeping the lights on.
oh, the brand new batteries are in the podium. I see, we do. Look at that, Martin.
Those batteries are no good.
We have other batteries in the podium per Martin.
We just changed the batteries in that microphone, actually. So
all right.
We'll stick with this one. So again, we spent just over $1,800 in the past year keeping the lights on and the building marginally warm. We do run a space heater and the electrical in the closet all winter long, so nothing gets too terrible. Martin, one more slide, please. So again, we're asking for up to $50,000 from the Capital Reserve Fund. After we pay the bill for the lights, the Capital Reserve Fund will have a balance of approximately $275,000. Again, this was money from the MTBE spill years ago. We have used the money to pay for the Three Corners intersection lights. We've used the money to help conserve the pole property in the past. Just so we're clear, the rehabilitation of the existing structure is limited due to the cost and there's the lack of intended uses for it. We did do some asbestos testing just this past couple of weeks in anticipation of hopefully demolishing the building. It came back with a little bit of asbestos where we expected there to be, undercoating of the sink and things like that, but fairly straightforward remediation projects. We will test the building if it gets demolished for lead. Once you demolish a small part of it, test that sample for lead, and if it tests positive, we will treat it as such.
Great. So that's the explanation. Any discussion on Article 5? Yes. Do we have a microphone in the... There we go.
Linda Genovese. I'm asking if the $50,000 is your estimate to demolish this building and cart it away, or is that just, have you got an estimate to do that project?
Go ahead, John.
Sure. So we anticipate $50,000 will be sufficient funding based on other buildings that have been demolished, from flood damage and things like that in the past. There's a little bit of extra money in there in case we do have to treat the demolition as hazardous materials. If it does test positive for lead, it has to be taken care of in a different way. But we anticipate that $50,000 will be sufficient funding for this work.
I have another question. Is there anticipation of what you plan to do with this site once it is leveled?
The short answer is return it to green space. And you can see there that the entire parcel, so the park, the playing fields, and then this would be just over an acre. So the anticipation is that it would be green space and just an extension of the existing North Hartland Park.
Okay. Is there further discussion on Article 5? We need to get a mic, and please identify.
John, is the building on a slab?
It is not. There is a foundation.
Is the foundation in any salvageable state?
there are cracks in the foundation that would need to be dealt with if we were to redevelop the building.
I just know that affordable housing is always an issue. There's Habitat for Humanity, and whether after demolition there might be a concept of salvaging a foundation and putting an affordable housing project in somehow, but, okay?
Thank you. Any further discussion on Article 5? Oh, hello.
Rebecca Genovese, we didn't rehearse this. Is it too late to perhaps consider that maybe we really should have sold this property? Because you did not give us an estimate from a contractor locally who specializes in demolition and refuse costs, and these things are escalating wildly. And we sort of voted to keep this with no predicted use. Have we tried to sell it? This seems like the kind of costs that you incur when you buy a property. This seems like the kind of costs that you're estimating, and like other things we've done in person in the recent past, within a year, those costs have inflated wildly. Not okay with that, okay? We're hurting financially on the ground here in Hartland. If that's not affecting you personally, it's affecting a lot of people. I don't have anything left to give up. So in terms of non-essential spending, I'm 100% no this year. And I really hope that my friends and neighbors will also consider stop voting your friends and neighbors into further poverty. This is not an essential expense. This is a potential source of revenue that perhaps we should rethink.
So just to clarify, is there a question? Did you want to ask a question about selling it?
Yeah, is it too late
to
reconsider that?
Okay. Would you like to address the issue of selling it over the last year?
So there was, we did attempt to sell the building at town meeting last year. That article was defeated. We do have to find something to do with the building as it continues to deteriorate. It is, again, it's important to note that it's up to $50,000, and that estimate was based on feedback we got from folks who have done home demolitions in the past and recently. So we anticipate that being sufficient funding for this project.
Okay. Mike's coming right there.
Rob Anderegg. It's my understanding that this $50,000 is not coming out of tax money, it's coming out of the Capital Reserve Fund. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So, any further discussion on Article 5?
Good morning. Gordon Richardson here. Having quite a history on the board, this has been a question and an issue for pretty much ever since they stopped using it as a school. We tried a lot of different things to make it work. Nothing seemed to work. Things were temporary, and we kept spending money, which has proved to be like the old saying that keep doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome is insanity. So we talked about selling it a little bit way back. We lost a board member, a good board member, over that discussion. But I think the 1 acre plus in North Hartland is a pretty tiny little piece of land, and the town of especially North Hartland Village deserves to keep that. It's a really short-sighted thing to sell that property. The idea of maybe doing something with the foundation, but not, I doubt, housing. If you read the newspaper, housing is a real expensive issue, really hard to make it work, especially on a small scale. So I think demolishing at this point is a really smart idea. Get it over with, keep the property, maybe make some decisions down the road of what to do. Thank you.
Okay. Going back, next row back. Well, one more. There.
Thank you. Andrea Ambrose here. So just to clarify, John, we're taking money from the Capital Reserve Fund, so it's not affecting people's taxation. If we do vote no on this article, then we will keep the building and we'll continue to spend taxpayer money to keep it standing. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion on Article 5? Yes, right there.
Jill Lloyd, if I recollect last year we had all this discussion, but one of the things that we brought up was that this parcel of land, as was just pointed out, to be a space that maybe there's already, I think, some basketball courts there, and could potentially, it's a green space for the whole North Hartland community. And if you sell it to private person, that's gone. It'll never come back as a green space for the community. And I personally believe that these green spaces can really build community, whether you do, horseshoes or basketball or whatever. So I would be in support of demolishing it so it doesn't cost us money to keep heating it, and to have that space preserved for the community. Thank you.
My name is Matt Peeler. Essentially, you're not spending $50,000. There's some value to that building. It's got to be at least 200. There's no reason why you can't subdivide the building off that piece of property and keep the majority of the green space.
Okay. Further discussion?
Julie Colt. John, are there any liability issues with keeping that building standing?
Right. So we do have the occasional vandalism up there, broken windows, things like that. The liability is that we continue to do, just the nominal amount of maintenance to make sure that the building does not kind of fall in on itself. So if we don't take action, the town will have to spend money out of the general fund to keep the building in a relatively safe condition until we find a suitable solution.
Any more discussion on Article 5, including in the back where it's a little harder to see? No? Okay, then I'll move on to the question. Article 5, shall the town vote to direct the select board to make available up to $50,000 from the Capital Reserve Fund to properly demolish the North Hartland School building? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have passed Article 5. Article 6. Shall the voters authorize the deposit of $100,000 from the general fund surplus to the Culvert Reserve Fund? Do I have a motion on Article 6? Okay. Do I have a second on Article 6? Yeah. Great. Article 6 has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? I think I will, without objection, turn it back over to John to give a brief description of what this is about.
Sure. Martin? Thanks. So again, this is a simple transfer of money from the existing general fund surplus to an already existing Culvert Reserve Fund, which we try to put money into when feasible. Right now, there's about $200,000 in the Culvert Reserve Fund. This will just add to that. We've been kind of doing routine and routine maintenance on culverts as we can. We'll get to that a little bit more. We will continue to apply and utilize grant monies as they become available, similar to what we did on the Jennyville box culvert in 2024. We are currently having engineering and design done for another culvert on Jennyville Road at the intersection of Densmore Hill and Jennyville. Those are the two images on the right. It's a little hard to see, but right now it's an old and quite small existing stacked stone culvert. The proposal calls for a much larger box culvert. Martin, you want to go to the next slide? With an estimated cost for that single culvert of $427,000. So again, these projects continue to get more expensive. They're much less exciting than fire trucks, but just as arguably not quite as important, but still similarly important. And so this is a transfer of money, so we have funds available not only to match those grant funds when they become available to us, but in case we aren't selected for those grants, we can continue with the work.
Is there any more discussion on Article 6? Anyone? Yes. Wait, please wait for a mic, just because for the recording purposes.
Hi, Peter Allison. So that one culvert looked like north of $400,000. You have 200 and you're asking for 100. Is it presumption that grant funding will make up the difference, or you just have to wait for another year to do it?
The presumption is when VTrans grants become available to us, they're approximately $200,000. You heard Becca mention earlier that those state aid monies may be diminishing in the future. This is whether we use the Culvert Reserve Fund for this specific project or we're being prudent in putting money aside for future projects. Again, we're not going to spend all the money tomorrow on a single culvert, but we need to be prepared as these culverts are aging and need replacement.
So you're gambling on not needing to do it this year?
I would not say we are gambling on not needing to do it. We don't know whether we'll be selected for a VTrans grant this year or not. We will apply if we aren't selected and we choose to go forward with this project. This helps to kind of offset the cost from the general fund.
Jill Lloyd, I'm assuming the culverts, they're keeping in mind when we had Irene, a lot of the culverts weren't adequate, and we had a lot more road erosion than perhaps with modifying these culverts. So I'm thinking long-term to get these culverts done would potentially save us money in terms of after storms not having to do as much repair because the water didn't back up.
Okay, any more discussion on Article 6? Okay. Article 6, shall the voters authorize the deposit of $100,000 from the general fund surplus to the Culvert Reserve Fund? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have passed Article 6. Article 7, which will also come with a presentation. Article 7, shall the voters authorize the general fund and highway fund expenditures of $4,267,693, of which $3,238,683 shall be raised by taxes. Do I have a motion on Article 7? moves, and do I have a second? Okay. Article 7 has been moved and seconded. Before we get into other discussion, I believe there will be a presentation on the article. So I will turn it over without objection to the town manager.
Great. So before we get to next year's budget, we'll take a quick look back at 2025, 2026 work that was done with last year's budget. So last year's budget was a lot of normal and routine work. We did a lot of paving in North Hartland. We paved road aprons throughout town. We replaced road culverts, those cross culverts, not these big box culverts that we were just talking about, but we did 9 of those, which we are upsizing to allow for better passage of waters during high water events. We also had a road surface management system, or RSMS, report completed on all the paved roads, excluding the Queechee Road. Martin? Don't worry, we'll talk about the Queechee Road too. It's everybody's favorite. We will use that RSMS report to prioritize paving. Essentially, the notion is to not prioritize the worst first roads, again, excluding the Queechee Road. And these are just some photos of roads that were repaved this past summer, particularly up in North Hartland. Martin? We also utilized some grants and aid funding to stone line some ditch work. This is part of work is required by the Agency of Natural Resources under our municipal roads general permit. Here you see some beautiful stone line ditches. Martin? Again, the entrances, the culverts that were done, this is all done by the road crew. And then the picture on the right, we don't stone line all the ditches if the slope does not warrant it, but we do ditch, and that's the picture on the right there. We, at last year's town meeting, moved away from an elected board of listers to an assessor's office. So that transition took place. We are nearing the completion and updating of the online tax map, which had gotten away from us for a few years. We'll see that coming out this summer as the new grand list is set. And then we have a reappraisal under contract this past year. The downside being that work is scheduled to begin in 2028 with a completion in 2030. That's the availability of the reappraisal firms in the state. Chief Sanders already stole all of the excitement here, but we did complete furnace upgrades at Station 1 and Station 2. We used the available ARPA money that was available to the board for this. HVAC upgrades were identified in the Town of Hartland ARPA committee report that was put together. So, there you go. So, again, it was fairly quiet this past year, which is good. That means we got all of those things done that we anticipated doing. And then we still have work looking forward. This is one of the North Hartland covered bridges, which VTrans is currently assessing and looking for available funding for that reconstruction project. There's the Four Corners intersection project to make that intersection safer. That is going before a VTrans traffic committee this spring. Again, we talked about the Densmore Hill Road culvert, paving, and now the Queechee Road. Martin. So the Queechee Road, right? I think there's no getting around the fact that it's a problem. We recognize that it's a problem. It's a challenging problem, and it's an expensive problem. We talked about this last year. In August of 2024, the estimate for the reconstruction and rehabilitation of the Queechee Road was north of $6.4 million. We allocate $300,000 a year towards paving in the town budget. Those two numbers are very far apart. So there's a couple options that we're looking at, and the board will be discussing these in the coming months. And for folks, I would anticipate you to participate in those conversations. We have a little bit of general fund surplus, which we talked about in the culvert reserve article. We have about $1 million or so available to us. If we take that coupled with our existing paving budget for the next couple of years, we might be able to tackle some of the kind of worst sections of the Queechee Road. But again, if we don't do it all at once, we're taking a problem and making it a long-term problem, because we're going to be doing construction continuously in 2026, 2027, 2028. It becomes a long-term project. We could potentially look at a bond. That does not have to be done at town meeting. We could do that under the general election. And it doesn't have to be for the entire 6.4 million. We could bond for less than that. We could utilize a mix of the existing general fund surplus, savings that we could anticipate from not paving for the next couple of years, in reducing that bond amount, or some combination of all of those things. I just want to be explicitly clear, though, we understand that the Queechee Road is a problem. If there was a simple solution, we would be actively we would be actively doing it right now. There's not. It's a challenging and complex and expensive problem. Martin? So now for the exciting, the budget. You thought the Queechee Road was exciting. So this year's budget is a $421,000 increase over last year, or a 4.99%. I will say all town departments, the library, the rec, the highway, the finance office, everybody put in a lot of work to get that number down as low as possible, coming in just under 5%, which makes the municipal tax rate with appropriations that already passed $749.70 per $100,000, or an increase of $48.50 per $100,000 of assessed value. Martin? Just some highlights in terms of revenue. This is the general fund only, not the highway fund. General fund revenue was pretty flat. You can see that if you just look on the column on the right, the percent change is all less than 1%. And in fact, revenue for the rec went down a notional amount. Martin? Nope, back one slide, Martin. Thanks. Where the budget did increase in the general fund, we are increasing from 32 hours a week to 40 hours a week in our contract with the Windsor County Sheriff's Office. You'll see a big jump in the consulting services under the listers or assessor side of the budget, but that's really going from $300 to $10,000. That's a combination of a private contractor that we've been using and NIMRIC, who we anticipated going into contract with when we moved away from a board of listers. NIMRIC is the New England Municipal Resource Center. We also included $15,000 in both Damon Hall and Rec Center capital improvements. We have old and aging buildings that are in need of repairs. We did some work in the past year. There's lead paint in both buildings. There's drainage work that continues to be needed at both buildings. And we increased the tree cutting budget in the cemeteries section of the budget by $1,000. Again, trees are expensive. For about $8,000, that's 3 to 4 trees, depending on where they are and the access to them. We're trying to tackle the trees in the Weed Road Cemetery right now, which, access to that cemetery is very difficult. Go ahead, Martin. Just shifting quickly to the highway fund. This is where the biggest change came, and it's because we added a position to the highway. In the FY27 budget, there's an added position to the highway crew. This is revenue. Again, you see the jump in property taxes. Again, that is related to the additional position. Martin? So again, under the general fund expenses, these are the big drivers here. When we anticipate hiring a new position, we put them in at the most expensive health insurance plan because we don't know what they're going to come in at. So that number may change depending on who gets hired. Labor is increased by 44%. That includes both summer and winter labor. It's a 60-40 split in the town budget, summer labor to winter labor. We did decrease the culvert line. We had some leftover culverts that we did not get to this past summer, so we can use those and the $14,000 in the budget to continue that kind of routine maintenance. And then we increased the budget for line striping. We had previously gotten a grant through the Highway Safety Improvement Program to do some line striping. Turns out we should be doing more of that, and we anticipate doing more line striping, kind of annually moving forward. We had not historically been spending all of our guardrail budget, so BJ over on against the window there. We reduced that budget a little bit. The overtime addition is, again, related to the new highway position. And then sand and salts, they're more expensive, and we're going through them more. These smaller storms, the 1 to 2 to 3 inch storms, we have to do just as much labor as the storms where it snows 8 to 10 inches. All the roads require sand, all the roads require salt. So it doesn't make a big difference, and we're seeing these more frequent small storms. But to end on a high note, the bucket loader is paid off. So again, the big increase on the highway fund is the increase of the staff position. Right now we have 5, that's with a working foreman. If we add a position, it will increase that number to 6. It allows for multiple crews to be out working and somebody in the grader throughout the course of the summer. We're trying to find a real balance between preventative maintenance, again, the paving that we've been doing, the hot patch on the Queechee Road, the line striping, and keeping the road safe, new guardrails where they need to be, et cetera. And then this is a repeat from last year, but inflation has an impact. I think John touched on this again when it comes to fire trucks. It's $285,000 for a new plow truck, a new dump truck with a plow on it, and 18-month lead time, so slightly better than fire trucks, but only slightly less expensive. So it's expensive. We are doing our best to kind of do maintenance on those trucks to prolong their life, but they do get used daily, and they get put out there in all sorts of hazardous conditions, and they get put to the test, and they get used. So, Martin, I think that's the last one. Okay.
Great. Okay, so is there discussion on Article 7? One thing I'll just note is that I have been fairly liberal in allowing for questions of the town manager on specific pieces. I will continue to that. If people get concerned about how that's going, feel free to say something. So, discussion on Article 7. Any discussion on Article 7? Rob, if you could, here it comes. Do you have?
I am Rob Foote. Just a question, John. I noticed that the line item for the Windsor County Sheriff has gone up considerably. I just wondered what the explanation for that was.
So we had gone from, we were currently under contract through June at 32 hours a week. We've seen an increased need for the sheriff's presence in town, so we upped that budget to 40 hours a week of similar service. And again, we have this same contract that we've had for years with the Vermont State Police for 10 hours. They're having a difficult time of meeting that, so we do have a little bit of redundancy, and we have the constable in the budget. But there's an increased demand for service, and we're moving from, so it's a simple move from 32 hours a week to 40 hours a week of police coverage in the town of Hartland.
Okay.
Hi, Mark Peeler. As far as the Hartland-Queechee Road, I mean, this all-or-nothing approach is not safe. I mean, we could be cutting trees. Residents in this town have been killed and injured from trees, and all we do is drive by and watch them fall over. And the guardrail budget should be returned to where it is because they're not fixed, and there's several not safe guardrails on the Hartland-Queechee Road. Thank you.
Okay. Further discussion? Yes.
John, can you tell us how much money is allocated to the Hartland Constable and how many hours per week and/or month does that cover?
In all the questions that I anticipate getting asked at town meeting, that was not one of them, Julie. I believe the constable's budget is about $9,000 annually. And last year, I see Martin's doing some math in his head. I believe it's about $9,000 annually. We reduced that 50% from the previous year. So it's already down from the previous year. And we get a timesheet I believe it's about 30 hours a month that we get a bill for from the constable right now.
Martin, is there a reference in the budget?
Page 13 in the town report.
Page 13 in the town report has that answer.
There you are. Okay. Yes.
Hi, Jennifer Waite. John, I was just wondering, wasn't the rec center and the Damon Hall renovations covered partially under like ARPA funds or something at some point?
We did some drainage work in 2024 at both Damon Hall and the rec center in an effort to get water away from the buildings. So there historically have been a concrete slab around Damon Hall. We replaced the sidewalk in an effort to get water away from the buildings. We didn't do any renovations at either building.
Okay.
And that money, sorry, Jennifer, that money was the ARPA money that was used to pay for that work.
Further discussion of Article 7. If not, we will move on to the question. Article 7, shall the voters authorize the general fund and highway fund expenditures of $4,267,693, of which $3,238,683 shall be raised by taxes. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have approved Article 7. Article 8 is a general article, which is to transact any other business necessary and proper under this warning. I just want to reiterate that any action that might or might not be proposed under this is non-binding. But is there anyone who would like to speak under Article 8?
My name is Judy Howland. I was asked to speak briefly about the Hartland Nature Club. I promise I won't go on for 2 hours, nor will I wax rhapsodic about the curtains in Damon Hall. Hartland Nature Club was established in 1907. There were 4 people that started it. Mr. and Mrs. Underwood, who lived just beyond Matt Dunn's building of business, and 2 sisters who lived on what is now called Clay Hill Road, Mary Benson Gates and Anna Benson Spalding. They started the Nature Club, and in the beginning, people in town would present papers about, sort of scholarly papers about things of interest, such as ferns or mushrooms or whatever they were interested in. In later years, when I joined about 75 years ago, Emmeline Webster and her sister Marion Webster would give me a ride to the meetings. I was 8 years old. And it was a bird watching club with people in their 80s who knew how to use binoculars, which I really didn't. Lately, in the last 10 or 15 years, the Nature Club has been pretty much dormant. But I would like to call attention to everybody here. When Damon Hall was built, there was a room devoted to the Nature Club. It's through that hallway. And there are collections there of interesting things like butterflies, birds' eggs, seashells, and the minutes of the meetings of past years. And I don't know if Andy Ambrose is helping me to get this reorganized and reinstituted so we can have meetings. And I don't know, was there anything you'd like to say, Andy?
Great.
Anyone else want to say anything about the Nature Club?
Okay. Thank you. All right. Any other business to discuss under Article 8? Yep. Yep.
I live on Clay Hill Road. It's a pretty good road right now, so knock on wood. I had to write down my thoughts because I am a terrible public speaker and my voice shakes and sometimes I cry, so please bear with me. Last summer, I started gathering signatures to put the American Friends Service Committee Apartheid-Free Community Pledge on the Hartland ballot. I failed to gather enough signatures due only to my own fault and personal reasons. So I then turned my thoughts to getting a non-binding resolution today. I consulted with our dear moderator, who suggested that it might not be the best way, as measures not warned have no teeth. I agree, and I also want the whole community to understand the pledge in its entirety before voting. About the pledge, real quick, for those of you who don't know, the pledge is directly inspired by the global anti-apartheid movement that successfully dismantled the apartheid regime in South Africa. The pledge reads as follows: we affirm our commitment to freedom, justice, and equality for the Palestinian people and for all people. We oppose all forms of racism, bigotry, discrimination, and oppression. We declare ourselves an apartheid-free community, and to that end, we pledge to join others in working to end support to Israel's apartheid and other apartheids around the world. Hartland would join a growing movement for justice. The AFC pledge has already been adopted by 40 communities in Vermont and 5 municipalities. Our neighbors Thetford did it last year, and today Hartford is voting on it on their ballot. Worldwide, there are over 1,000 communities who have taken this pledge. I'm sure most of you know who Mohsen Madawi is. He wrote a letter last week to the town of Hartford, and in that letter he said, "I care about the future of this nation and this world. War destroys futures. Peace through nonviolent diplomacy, divestment, and ethical investment is the only path forward. The ultimate goal here is to have a plan in place so Hartland does not inadvertently create more suffering in the world." We're a peaceable bunch of people here. I mean, Hartland's heart is huge. None of us, that wasn't in here, sorry. None of us want to have a hand in oppression anywhere. I'm leaving, I have some clipboards and I have some business cards, and I would like to continue this discussion. And what I'm looking for from the town of Hartland is support in gathering support around this measure and other peaceable measures that Hartland can participate in. I run a small grassroots organization called UV Rise Up. We have a website, uvriseup.org, where we post all of the protests happening on every corner, every day of the week in the Upper Valley, plus all the No Kings stuff, all the trainings you can attend when there are great films being shown, like this week at RIF. So it's a great resource for the community, but it's also where you can find me. I have clipboards if you want to sign up, or I have business cards that I can just hand out if you want to contact me instead of me contacting you. I guess that's all I have. And thank you, Matt, for helping me figure out how to present this to our community.
Any more comments under Article 8? We're going to go to Marty. Yep. We'll move our way this way.
Hello, everybody. I would like to read Hartland's Declaration of Inclusion, which was passed by the Hartland Select Board in 2022. 164 other towns, municipalities in Vermont have similar declarations of inclusion. Ours specifically reads, quote, recognizing that diversity strengthens and enriches a community, the town of Hartland denounces discrimination and welcomes all persons, regardless of race, color, religion, national origin, sex, gender identity or expression, age, or disability. We strongly commit ourselves and our institutions to the fair and equal treatment of everyone who lives and works in or passes through our 3 villages. We strive to ensure that all of our plans, policies, programs, procedures, statements, and actions reflect this commitment and support a town in which all persons feel safe to express their opinion and participate in the community. I think statements like these are very helpful to us all going forward as the wonderful town we are. Thank you.
Thank you for continuing the energy of Jeff Bell, who is no longer a town resident. So thank you. All right. Other comments?
Good morning. My name is Nancy North. I'm one of your Hartland community nurses. We made, Rebecca and I, over 600 visits here in Hartland last year. We've come up with a new idea, is that we really want to reach out to people who need help before something happens to them, to make them safer in their home. And how do we do that is kind of being proactive, visiting people, letting them know what services are already available to them, maybe helping them learn more about aging in Hartland in case they don't know. So we are starting a program. It's called Aging and Able. It's a pilot. We will be sending this postcard out to, we're starting with the 80-plus age group because we have to start somewhere. And we might as well start up and move down. And the goal is that we will reach out to, with a postcard to every home that has someone 80-plus in it, with the hope that they will contact us and allow us to come visit them. The other goal is that eventually we will, visit other people from the 70-plus and 60-plus. But on the other hand, I have cards here today that I can hand out to anyone who thinks they would like one now. It has all the contact information on the back for Aging in Hartland. It has a nice picture of your nurses so you know who is coming to your home. And if you know somebody who is 80-plus, who might be resistant to a strange nurse coming to their home, you can let them know it's really all good. There is no cost to anybody, no. There is never a cost for your community nurse to visit you at all. We do not take insurance. We are not governed by insurance. That visit, it can be a one-time visit, it could be a monthly, it can be a weekly visit for some people that we see. So we really, it's this is free to you in Hartland. So if anyone would like any cards, I have them here with me. I'll be out there. Otherwise, there is, you can go on the computer and look up Aging in Hartland for information. I think it's just a matter of letting everyone know we're here to help, and we're here to make you safe here in Hartland so you can stay here in Hartland.
Great. I, for one, am relieved that you're not using the ARP definition of aging, so we're not coming to Harlowbrook Farm anytime soon. Okay. Yes, thank you.
Hi, my name's Ann Hildreth. I'm on Aging and Hartland Board. I just wanted, since we have a captive audience here, to remind everybody that almost every single one of these organizations that we voted on is run by volunteers. And as everybody knows, we're an aging population. So I just want to put a little bug in people's ears. If they need something fun to do, to broaden their horizons, their skills, their social interactions, please think about volunteering for any of these organizations. They're always having turnover, so we need new people to come on in. So I just want to put a plug in for volunteerism, and thank you to everybody who does volunteer.
Great. And then we have a mic over here. Right there. Oh, sorry.
Hi, I'd just like to address something that I think is important.
Identify.
We should keep this. Is this working? Okay.
If you can identify yourself.
Oh, Bob Quadler. I work here. As the assessor, I think the scope of town meeting votes should be in a scope that's appropriate to the town. What I am responding to is this apartheid document here. I mean, I have things that I value that I think are important, but they're outside the scope of this town and what we can change here. And so I think it's important that we keep the scope inside the town, things we can do personally, not just political opinions, not just things we don't like. It's admirable to have your opinions. There are venues for that. So I'm just responding.
Okay. There's. Okay. Yes. And oh, sorry. We were so busy down here. I'm missing. Can we get some lights upstairs? Is there? There's no lights in the budget. Okay. Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Yes. Thank you.
My concern today.
Please identify yourself.
Oh, Rob Sankster, Hartland resident.
There
Sorry.
Lights. Okay.
So,
thank you.
My concern is more directed to the select board. I see in the budget that they've put in some funding for a couple of the Hartland buildings. The building I have concerns about certainly isn't as old as the two that are in there, but you know, as a town, we've seen problems at the library with heating and plumbing, and I would strongly encourage that the town library get sufficient proactive funding moving forward so we don't have these issues with the library needing to be closed or a porta potty in the middle of the winter. Thank you.
Okay. All right, we'll keep it in the balcony.
Jeffrey Hammelman, my comments about the library as well. I think it's a true gem for our town. From little children all the way up to the old geezers, there's something almost every day that's going on that's beneficial. And I think if we looked at the cost per person in town for the library, it's pretty nominal. So I just really urge that as budgets get tighter and tighter and it's harder and harder to find money, that we continue to really give our active support to our wonderful library. Thank you.
Anyone else in the? Yep.
Just real quick,
without
just
objection.
A real thanks to the volunteers who were here running the microphones and helping out with the cameras, who are helping out with jam. They need to leave before town meeting is over, so
got it.
Just a thank you to them.
Thank you. Yes, and then if we can help with one more microphone over here to Andrea. Does anyone? Youth. Okay. There we are. Thank you, John.
Thanks, John. Andrea Ambrose. I just would like to echo what Ann was saying earlier, that this is a wonderful, vibrant community, and volunteering, there are so many different organizations that need your help. So please get actively involved in this town. And Judy is the gem, and I'm so glad you spoke out this day. She is the thread that's keeping the Nature Club going, and it would be wonderful to keep it going. And I'm sure that there are a lot of folks out there in the community that just don't know about it and would be interested in joining, because nature is very nurturing during these times, and any age can really get involved and enjoy nature. So thank you, Judy.
Any more discussion? Yes. Up at the top. Do we have a microphone still up there? Where did... they, For those who didn't hear, it's a big thanks to the Highway Department employees. So, any other discussion under Article 8? Yes. Where's the other mic? Go. There. That should work. No, John.
Hi, sorry to add one more thing. My name is Jo Knowles, and I'm part of Hartland Community Resilience. And for those of you not on their listserv, it's really hard to spread information to the town sometimes, but we have reinstated the monthly free community breakfasts here at Damon Hall in the basement. They're second Saturday every month on a different topic. It was formed in the spirit of mutual aid to share information about resources in the town, and information and bringing people who are knowledgeable about certain topics that we think would be useful to the town. So everyone is welcome, all ages. It's a delicious breakfast. We have a great conversation. It's at 9 a.m. on the second Saturday of the month. Thank you.
Great. Any other comments under Article 8? I don't want to miss anybody. Okay, with that, can we have a motion to adjourn? Pat motions to adjourn. Do I have a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. We are adjourned.
Article 8 is bullshit. It's just bullshit? Yeah, it's the bullshit article. So we never brought it up and agreed to it. I'm waiting for Article 11, like you said. Now,
Are you still PowerPoint?